Okay, today we're going to talk exponents and order of operations. So when we think of multiplication, when we say something like 3 times 5 is really 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, right? It's repeated addition. Okay, skip counting is just repeated addition. Okay, but when we talk exponents, we're talking repeated multiplication. So when I say something's like 2 to the third power, that means 2 times 2 times 2, and the dot means times. So then we just multiply it. So we go 2 times 2 is 4, and I'm going to bring that down because I haven't used it, and 4 times 2 is 8. So 2 to the third equals 8, okay? Or 5 to the fourth power would be 5 times 5 times 5 times 5. And I can say 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 5 is 25, and then do 25 times 25, which when they get really big numbers, the kids can use calculators on this, and it's 625. Okay, so that's how we do operations, or exponents. Now, we might also have something that might say something like 2 cubed times 3 squared. Okay, so this is 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. So we can say 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. I have a times 2 left that I haven't used. Okay, so now 4 times 2 is 8 times 9. 7 times 9 is 72. So that would be the answer to this. Okay, but now let's move into order of operations. In order of operations, we have a little, not a story, but just a little acronym, I guess, to help us remember. And some parents might have learned a little story that goes along with it. When they were in school, I did Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. We don't use Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally so much anymore because it does not help the kids remember at all that multiplication and division need to go left to right. Okay, so I'm going to write a little arrow here and a little arrow here, meaning that multiplication and division actually come in unison, I guess you can say. And then you just move left to right. So if there's a division problem at the front, you do that first. If there's a multiplication problem at the front, you do that first. And then you move on to addition and subtraction. So when we write it like this, PEMDAS, and we even joke sometimes that we can call it PEDSMA, because it really doesn't matter how we write it in the first place. What matters is that we remember that division and multiplication, or we call them equal partners, and subtraction and addition are equal partners. So then you might be given something like, let's see, something like this. Two to the fourth power divided by 7 minus 5. Okay, I'm not going to write PEMDAS over here to remind us, okay? So PEMDAS says that we need to do parentheses first. So we'll do 7 minus 5 is 2. Now, the rule in our classroom is that we rewrite the whole thing. Once we have, once we've done one step, we're going to rewrite before we move on and do something else. It's so easy to accidentally screw up the order when you don't rewrite. Okay, so now PEMDAS, the two operations we have left are exponents and division. So we need to do 2 to the fourth first, which really means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 2 times 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 4 is 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite the rest of it because I had not used that yet. And now I have 16 times 2 is 8. So our answer is 8 here. Okay, let's do a little bit more of a complicated one. Okay, we have 12 plus 21 divided by 3 plus 2 to the fifth times 0. Okay, now I'm trying to get my kids in the habit of writing the dot for times because we're starting to use variables, and then we use X a lot and it can be confusing. Okay, so PEMDAS, I'm going to rewrite PEMDAS just so I can refer to it. PEMDAS says I need to do parentheses first, but I don't have parentheses, so my next option is to do exponents. 2 to the fifth is really 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now, I remember that 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. I just did that on the last problem. So I can do 16 times 2 is 32. Okay, so now I'm going to rewrite 12 plus 21 divided by 3 plus 32 times 0. All right. PEMDAS, we're done with parentheses, we're done with exponents. The next thing would be multiplication or division. And this is where it comes in it becomes important that we start from left to right and we say, okay, which comes first? Multiplication or division doesn't really matter. I just do which one is at the front. So 21 divided by 3 comes before 32 times 0, even though we have multiplication here first. Remember, we have to go left to right. So 21 divided by 3 is 7. And I'm going to rewrite the whole thing. Okay, and now I can do my multiplication. 32 times 0 is 0. Rewrite the whole thing. And now I just have addition left. So I don't need to go in any particular order now because we can add in any order. 12 plus 7 is 19. Plus 0 is 19. So there's our answer. I hope that's helpful. That's a little PEMDAS action and order of operations, whatever you want to call it.